how do you see that our global economy recovery should be like? Where should we start? How we can apply the learnings of these days where we face situations where we've put people first because we have other option? What can we learn from this? And how to start to rebuild something that is already broken?
Well, I think this is a great challenge, and it's a great sort of opportunity for the transformation as well. We are in the middle of the what we call a disruption era, and then with this COVID-19, it really give a strong message of disruption itself, I guess. Because we always think that the things or the development has to be gradually going up slowly and slowly. But with the theory of the Maslow and so, we thought that development it developed more than what we thought. It multiplied more than what we think. But suddenly, with the development of digital transformation, and we found that we are wrong with the whole theory of development, because suddenly it halted the whole world or the development, the process. But after we are trying to grapple ourselves with these digital disruptions, and suddenly, unexpectedly, this COVID-19 is with us. So this even challenges our human capacity and way of thinking. And we always think that when we think of the global economy, it is always, mostly we are trying to circle around what we call this market-based economy, money-based market, and so. That is whole about the capital. And when we think of the capital, it is a money-making mechanism. That is what all about it. But in some way, when we thought of this capitalism and the global economy, we are trying to think in such a way that what we can do for a human. Of course, as a human, the theory and the spirit of capitalism itself is always profit before people. Because if you get more profit, this means that you have a good economy. But with this striking of this COVID-19, it shows that what money can do to us. Money is valueless. Money is worthless. Somebody is very rich, but if they got the COVID-19, even the free breathing air, they can consume it. What money can do? We need to have, for doctor need a PPE. Even the greatest industry cannot produce the PPE set for the doctors. Everyone is needing a mask. And where is this industry 4.0? It is not able to produce what we need. That it is not costly. Just to produce a mask is not costly. But the industry cannot cope with that. The science cannot cope with this virus. So it shows that the whole aim of capitalism fails us. Whole idea after we think the wealth is very important, and it shows that wealth is nothing when there is an issue of health. And at the moment, we are trying to balance this. What we prioritize first, wealth or health? A lot of people who are in the capitalist side, they are trying to say that the wealth and the health, it will come later. But of course, if you have a wealth, but you don't have a ready health to consume or to enjoy your wealth, what is the point of having wealth? So this is the dilemma at the moment. So global economy in the future after the COVID-19, I would say that we have to change, we have to rethink of our whole aim. And should be a capitalism or whatever it is, but you have to add the human touch in front of whatever system you are using it. So I would say that if you are using the word capitalism, you need to have this compassionate capitalism. The capitalism, it is just a means to share the love and happiness together between human beings and this planet. We have destroyed the planet, and suddenly the COVID is trying to, in a good note, the COVID is trying to heal the nature for us at the moment. And then if you do not use this opportunity to see the importance of the nature, the planet, and what as a human in need is a human indeed. So at the moment, we are the support each other we are getting from through, even you are all the way to Spain, I'm all the way in the east in Thailand. But the touch we are having at the moment, that is a true human. And it costs nothing in a way. It costs nothing.
You were talking about the human side. If you think about the leaders of those businesses, why do you think that sometimes we lose who we are ourselves? No?
Indeed.
Why don't we put ourselves in businesses and in brands? Is this something that, I don't know, we never learned maybe at the University of Business? No, I really think that when you see those leaders that bring together that human and professional side, the human and the professional go bigger, no, both.
Yeah.
Why we forget to do that? Why do you think?
Well, as a human, by nature, we are some kind of a creature. We are beast inside sometimes. And when we are human, but actually the whole idea of a human is that we have to learn how to be a human. Because otherwise, it is just like any other creature in the world, is always looking egocentric. You are looking from your own eyes. But what makes you human is that you are able to see from the common eyes, not only your eyes. And in order to do that, is that you need to have this, what you call this, the upgrading of a humanity. Generally, it is interesting that in Oriental language, in the Sanskrit or in Pali, the old language like Latin, the word human is called manusya. And what manusya basically means that one who has a higher power of thinking, you see. So the true humanness is that the one who has a higher ability, capacity of thinking. So what do you mean by higher capacity? Means that you are not looking narrowly just only in front of you, but you are able to widen your horizon and look at the whole world as your own world. So that is what basically we need as a human being. And that we hope that through the education, through our society, and through our political system, economy, we thought that we can broaden that sort of idea. But unfortunately, we were misled by the economy that you come first. Now, even with the COVID-19, you can see that at the moment, we are hearing not a globalization, but we are hearing a deglobalization. Everyone is thinking of your own country as the most priority. You are looking at yourself. But actually, in reality, it doesn't work in a way. Because if you are alone in an island surrounded by all the sharks, how long you can stay? There's no way. So in order to be able to stay in the island with a peace and happiness, that you have to make a friends with you, all the sharks who is surrounding all your island. So that is what we call a human. And as a human, we can do that. So all the leaders, I guess that is something we have to search for. That is something we have to educate for our future leadership. So I always see leader as something like, who L is for the one who always aspire for learning. And the E is always somehow empowering the people, empowering the society. A is always ready to adapt the new normal or whatever normalcy. And delegate, able to D for delegate is able to, you can delegate all the workload and so and so. And of course, yourself have to engage with other people. That is another E. And not only that, time to time you have to reflect on what you do. What is your outcome, what you are doing. And then, of course, overall, you have to do for the service. So that is I call leaders. So if you have this quality of leaders, then I guess that everyone will be praise you. Everyone will be, happy to be your subordinate. And your surrounding, your country, your home will be more and safe and happy. You can create a heaven on earth. That is the leaders.
That's very inspiring, and I really share your thinking. And Anil, when you speak about all this, how to learn to be a human, inspire others to learn to be a human.
Indeed.
You speak about reflection. if you speak about how we can make it so this happens, let's say that a leader really he's like deep engaged, no, on that ideas, on those ideas, no.
Yes.
How can you do that in the real business that you have, no, in front of you? These days we were speaking about the power of conversations, no, of investing time in your people, in your teams, to have this deep reflection you were just talking about, to have conversations. I was wondering, at some point, I remember you telling me, this was like 4 years ago, I think 5 years ago, I remember you telling me, Sandra, you need to put a monk in your board of directors. And you were saying, well, maybe then it becomes a monkey business. Yes, I remember that.
That's right.
How do you think in practice this can be done? No? Which advice would you give in practice to a leader that has this kind of view in their day-to-day? Which practical advice would you give to a person like this? No? Invest time in this.
Yes, it is very simple, as you are peeling banana to eat, actually. Because when you think of the leader, why you become leader? Because you have a lot of subordinate who will listen to you, or you have to work with that. The leadership is only relevant when there is other people. So when you think of yourself, I'm an anthropologist, and I always teach my student that someone become a man because there is another man. You see, it doesn't mean that when we born as a human, we are human. We could behave as a beast. But throughout our life, throughout our growing up, we were always communicating with other humans. And we will see our parents, and you say, oh, papa, mama. And suddenly, you become somebody because there is a papa, mama, and you become a son or daughter. Same as when you are in a leader, you are a CEO, it means that there are a lot of subordinates who regard you as a CEO. And in order to that regard, in order to this kind of relevancy, you have to behave, not only in the name, but you have to behave in action as well. If you are a CEO, it means that you need to build that quality which people can respect you, people can listen to you. And in order to have that power, that sort of leadership, of course, your vision has to be always wide. If you are thinking for only yourself, only your company, only your country, or only your sort of small group, that is a kind of a bad leadership we are talking about, because you are always creating problem with others. So if you can expand that horizons, that who you are at the moment, it is totally rely on someone who is you are communicating with, who you are ruling with, who you are living with in the same house. If you know that you are living with the parents, of course you need to create a good relationship with your parents. Otherwise, you can't live together as a family. So this is a core message we have to think. What makes you CEO, what makes you leader, is that the relationship you created with other people there. So that is the main idea. And if you can do that, I guess that everything will be smooth.
Also, another point I wanted to touch with you is about the economy of sufficiency. Do you think that the economy of sufficiency can ever replace the capitalist model? Or anyway, at least, what should we learn or what should we apply to this kind of compassionate capitalism you were talking about? No? What can we learn, the Western countries, from Thailand, from the Bhutan model, from of those models of sustainable development? No? Tell me a bit more about those learnings we can apply to our model if this is viable.
Yes, it is not actually the East and West dilemma. The whole about sufficiency economy is something about, it's another word, is a balanced economy when you use the word sufficiency. Because it is not something that even you can use a capitalism, for example. Because at the moment, we never have this sort of a perfect measurement, perfect system, which can, which is kind of a, the God creation system. We don't have that. So we have to create all the time. And even our creation, in a certain period, it works well, but after a while, it will create a problem. So there is because the nature of the world is that always changing. And you can't have that the capitalism as, Adam Smith capitalism at his time, and the modern capitalism is totally different already. We just have the spirit, the word, but the whole idea, whole things are already changed. The way we act, the way we behave, capitalism has changed. And there are so many varieties, so many shades of capitalism at the moment. So I don't mind what system you use it. But whatever system you use it, it is depends on the people. It is depends on the man who use the system. If you use the system in people orientated, in the founding on the happiness, on the sort of GDP in terms of the wealth and health, I would say that health and wealth, and that system would fine whatever system it is. So you don't have to think to replace the capitalism, but we have to think that how can we add on some of the gadget, some of the system through the capitalism, which is we have been using at the moment, and to make it compassionate capitalism. Sufficiency economy is one of that thing, because we are talking about the sustainable development in the more global term, and luckily the late Majestic King of Thailand used the word sufficiency economy instead of a sustainable development goal. But if you understand these two things, two terminology, they are talking about the same thing. They are talking about that whatever you do, whatever your business, whatever your policy, it has to be human-oriented policy. It has to be planet-oriented policy. It has to be something that what you are going to leave for future generation. Because we are so lucky. Our predecessors have left so much resources for us. But we have become so selfish that we are trying to use up all the resources only for us. What we are going to leave for our children. So if you have that sort of incentive in whatever you are doing, whatever system you are doing, then that will be the compassionate, the compassionate capitalism. That is what I call the sufficiency economy. Because the principle of sufficiency economy, there are 3 R's. One is relationships, so between the human being, the society base. 2 is resiliency, so we can, resiliency. So we can, whatever happens, so we can come back to the same ideas or whatever. And the 3rd is that reasoning of whatever as a human being. So these are the 3 principles of sufficiency economy. So whatever you think, whatever your business, whatever your behavior, whatever your society, whatever economy, if you are trying to look at these 3 eyeglasses, relationship, which keep you as a human, resiliency, that you can bounce up and down, and then able to have that endurance, perseverance, and then diligence, and so. And then you have a reason why you are doing that, what you are going to do that, what is the cause and effect of your actions. That is what I call a system what we needed. It may be a capitalist, maybe it's a communist, whatever you want to call it. But if you have the nature of these 3 factors, that will be something I would say that are perfect at the moment. I don't know how long it will, but at least at the moment we are lacking this element in our society.
I'd like to also have your point of view, because I know you've been involved in many conversations about this. I would like to know more about the GDP measurement. Yeah, actually. It's of course obvious now that we need to urgently update this measure of performing, which is absolutely ridiculous right now. What should an index that represents the global well-being of a country measure beyond the Human Development Index or the GDP? How to create it really? Which actors must be involved? Which are the challenges and the opportunities over there?
I guess if we are talking from the present perspective, the whole world, the United Nations is gearing the whole world under the umbrella of what we call is 2030 SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. But again, I am thinking hardly again that even the SDG is challenged by this COVID. pandemic. Because whatever we thought about these 169 indicators of these 17 SDG Sustainable Development Goals, we have to come back, sit together and rethink about it. Because the whole idea of poverty is totally different. It shows by this COVID-19 that what kind of poverty we are talking about. It's not poverty from when one doesn't have money to use it, but it's a poverty of how can we share, the whole idea of loving kindness and the friendliness and then the humanness between each other. That is some kind of we are lacking at the moment. So should we just let someone die because we don't have enough equipment, or it is just karma, or what is because of we can't afford it? Is that the right way to think about that? Because every single human being have a right to live. Every single human being has a right to be happy. And then if you are using your own resources and trying to decide for them, it is not a right system. Because at the moment, we are seeing at the moment with this COVID-19, as you said, in Spain or in many developed countries, many old people, our dear predecessors, are just left to die because we don't have enough equipment. We didn't have enough ventilators to help. And this is something, I guess that this is the, how can we measure this? So if we are measured from our point of view, I think it is not fair for those old elderly generations. So the system, I don't know whether we should have a Human Development Index or the GDP or even the GNH, but overall, whatever system you want to call it, the very important point is that how we are going to measure what we call happiness. And again,
can you tell us please a bit more on your experience on that of the happiness index, please?
Yes. And what do you mean by happiness? Happiness doesn't mean, as we understand in Western culture, happiness doesn't mean it's a fortune. Because the word hap is from the word fortune. And that's why in the Western perspective, sometimes you have to pursue for happiness. It's always chasing, always chasing. But if you understand the happiness from, the Eastern point of view, the happiness, the word sukha, just means the power of endurance, the capacity of endurance. If you can endure, if you can perseverance, if you can be patient, whatever it is, be your economy, be your pain, be your health, in a way that it is a whole idea of a balancing thing. It is not expecting so much. You have to expect, but you have to expect based on all surroundings, based on all the factors which you have, which you got it. So the happiness itself is always, it's always changing. The happiness itself is it's another kind of a one sort of standard. For someone who doesn't have anything to eat, just to have one hamburger will be more than happy. But for someone who have a lot of it, they thought that even they go to the very posh restaurant, they said that it's still not good enough. So you wouldn't have that, they are not happy yet. So happiness is that whatever you got it at the moment, and you are able to satisfy yourself. And when you are satisfied, it will give a power to create new things. It will give a power to have a look at the world from a more positive point of view. And this sort of index we need it. If you want to say that the Human Development Index, it is what makes you human, not as a human as somebody defined it. A human as who create the relationship between each other. Human as a one who appreciate and respect each other. The human as we always care as a brother and sister together. And if you have this kind of indicator, if you see that we can increase this kind of humanity aspect in all human, and that is a measurement, that is an index we needed.
That's wonderful, very inspiring. I think many people should hear more from you. And I wanted to ask you as well about inequality, because I know it's a thing that actually you always have there in your mind, no? And this is the big problem of all what we've created, no? And how to promote, let's say, disruptive change on that. No? How or which role can have businesses then, do you think, in this private and public collaboration? And how can world organizations that you know very well, like people like United Nations, World Health Organization, how can they make it better? How can we empower them to make it better? No? Which do you think would be the pillars to sort out this terrible problem of the system we've created?
I guess that inequality is a political drama. So we don't have, what do you mean by inequality? So if you're trying to make even equal, so what do you mean by equal? Because I always say that we have 5 fingers, and our 5 fingers are different length. So is that equal? And then each finger, they work differently in order to hold something very firmly. And so it is not, if you have imagine that if you have a same length of our finger, does it work? Does it function as we are functioning now? So if we think that inequality in terms of, that sort of equal measurement, I don't see that that is the right way to thinking. Inequality basically just means that it is a distribution of tools and assistance is not equal. But if you said equality means that you are giving the tools and assistance at the same. So just as the normal pictures we always see in the net, in the web, is that if you have a 3 height of a human beings and want to see something throughout the fence, and then how you are going to, for the short one, so you give if you have equal, you'll give a same height of tools. But if you are trying to say the equity, then you are trying to give a different height of tools. But the main idea is that why they need the tools. Why need this tool? Because they want to see out there. In order to do that, I don't see that inequality is the right word to use that. In order to destroy the inequality, in order to kind of solve the problem of inequality, I better use not even the equality, not even the equity, but I prefer the word justice there. Because when you use the justice, it means that we are giving, whatever they needed, both opportunity, both tools, and encourage them to able to grow in their own capacity. And that is something what we needed. So if you say that unequal, means that if you have someone is a dumb person, if you have a very clever one, and we are giving them $100 in the same amount equality, of course, both of them will use the money not in the same way. And then the dumb will be always a dumb, and the clever will be always a clever with the equality. But if we use the justice there, in some time, maybe for the clever one, you might give just only $50. But for the dumb one, he may need $150. But you'll give a same result, or kind of at least you will have that sort of equal or the kind of justice in there in the performances. And that is something what we needed. So the term inequality, I will always see as it's a political game. It is a kind of a political sort of a conversation rather than a real appearance in our society.
Wow, and justice is like a super big word, a big responsibility for the
Indeed.
For the
policymakers.
No?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the word. I agree. I love it. No, it sounds like a super big word, and which would you think are the pillars to be more just, to be able to apply more justice in the world we have? Which would be the main, let's say, principles?
The main principle is that you see the other people, from other people's eyes, not from your eyes.